just might make you say wow. Let's enjoy some fun conversation. We'll be shooting the shelf around the nation. Let's start shooting the shelf.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Shooting the Shelf, Season 3, Episode 31. I'm Jesse Arnold, and with me is the amazing, the awesome Curtis Ackerman. How are you doing tonight, Curtis?
I'm doing great.
Gesundheit.
Great. Not IshCon great. That would be really great, but I'm still doing pretty great. So nice shirt. Very nice.
Thank you.
So
I just thought I'd try not to look like a floating head tonight.
okay. That works. I went with Wolf King. So
well, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't have that Wolf King one.
Mm.
Some of us are specialer than others.
It's not my favorite Wolf King one. My favorite one is the NWO style Wolf King sweatshirt that I got. That gotcha. Probably is my favorite piece of clothing that I own. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah. How about we talk to the people in the chat?
Okay.
You want to get it?
Yeah, sure. So this week, we were to the beat of Wholesome Warlock is number one in the chat because Dave Orkin was in his car until just a couple minutes ago. Jeff Evans, Carver Customs, Anthony Housekeeping, Jeff Evans, that's Brian again. I am TJ Williams.
The H is silent.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were going to be silent. Stacy Lynn, we got both the Lynn's.
Stacy Lynn
Boyle.
It's three Lynn's.
Oh, okay. V-Dog, Jeff Evans, who I got to meet in person this weekend. J-Mac, Evil Stick. I believe I also met in person this weekend, if I hadn't already. M. Vieira, Gaisigwe Echevarria.
Or
Tanya
as Kemple says, Edgeway. I love Kemple.
Mark White, Bill from Dorklair. Good morning, sir. Kevin McCoy. We got
both the McCoys, all three Lynn's.
I feel weird. Like, yes, yeah. Nathaniel, right? Nathaniel, King Castle, Seeger, Steph Orkin, Mecha Recca, Juan Diego Rincon, David Williams, who's on his bus back to Tucson. Yeah, and did the customizing studio ever wrap up? When I looked at it just before I sat down, it was still live. So
I don't know. It was going pretty hard today. There was a lot of people in there, but Tanya is right. She says the best Wolf King shirt will be given out Friday night at Legion's Con. I believe she's talking about the customizing studio shirt designed by Jesse Arnold. So
I don't know if that's the best one, but I like the one with the wolf and the raven on it.
I don't know. It's pretty cool. We got David Williams on a bus back to Tucson. You remember David? We had him on a show last week. I'm not sure if you remember that.
I vividly remember that.
Yeah. And we were talking about the pins that he was designing for the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe someone on the show said, wouldn't it be cool if they did his buzz off as a figure in the line and had him there at IshCon to talk about it? And guess what? That happened.
You said it again on Saturday Day Live during
it did happen. So listen, I make a big deal about all these shows that do their like speculation things and stuff. And it's mostly because they get it wrong. Okay. And then they get people's hopes up with something that's not going to happen. I get it right. Okay. So that's why from now on, whenever we're leading up to something, if anybody wants to know what's going to happen in the wave, don't tune into all those other shows that do these wild speculations. Come to me. I'll give you the real answers. We'll be good to go. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Joe said, I can predict the toy future.
And
all hail the master speculator.
I mean, You pretty you selected or predicted 3 slog bodies, and we got 0 slog bodies.
I just wanted to say slog body because Hedgehog was saying it, and it seemed
Oh.
like a lot of fun. So,
gotcha.
but I did think that whatever it is, what is it, Cog? I did think Cog would be on a slog body. I thought that would be kind of cool, but it was a good wave. Yeah. Dorklair is worthy though, because he's got the original, the first, the number 1 buzz.
Or not anymore, he doesn't.
Breaking news. Do we have a scoop explosion?
No. Oh, gross. No, that sounds like you need some more fiber or less fiber. I thought I saw somewhere that it was on his way back to David.
Wow. Did you see we got Dr. Brent out there? Customizing studio spotlight artist for July. So yeah, good job. For those of you who aren't aware, we do Customizing Studio every Sunday, 1 p.m. If you're interested, just message me or Jesse and we can get you in there. Dr. Brent has been in there pretty much every Sunday for the last couple months, either sculpting or working on a dio or painting. A lot of times he's out in nature, making us all want to go outside. And yeah, just an inspiration. So good job, Dr. Brent.
I will say, as inspirational he is, he has not inspired me to go paint outside.
Oh, okay.
Not until it's at least 60 degrees or colder outside.
He actually, today I went outside to do, because I had to do some priming. So I went outside. I was like, you know what? Instead of just opening my door like I normally do and prime stuff and bring them back in, I'm going to go actually out there and sit outside because I just recently got this like cast iron bench from my parents. They're moving and put it outside. What I forgot is that iron gets really freaking hot when it's 90 degrees outside. And so when I sat down, I had the Customizing Studio going, and I don't think anybody noticed, but I sat down and burned the crap out of the back of my legs because I forgot it gets hot. And then I jumped up real quick, and then I looked down to see if anybody noticed. I don't think anybody noticed, but FYI, iron gets hot. So
keeping score this week, Curtis, 1 correct, spot on prediction for Ox Crew Book 2. -1 for forgetting that the instrument you use to iron clothes
it gets hot. Yeah.
Speaking of getting hot,
it's going to get hot in here tonight.
There's what you might say a blaze in the shelf tonight.
You know, some might say that our guest tonight is Artist of the Year. Some might say
I have seen that said. And I am not one to talk against the great. Oh,
wait a minute. Hold on. Scoop explosion. It sounds like Dorklair has sent the buzz off or is planning to send the buzz off back to David. So nice. Classy move. Classy. So, but yes, Artist of the Year. Here it comes. Folks, listen. Much like I can predict what figures are going to be in waves, I can predict what's going to happen at Legion's Con. Last year, I said Arthur Zoran be at his table, Artist of the Year. He's going to blow everybody away. His table is going to be the number 1 table. I said, be there, be first. This year, I'm telling you, our guest, you're going to be there at his table because this guy's been putting out fire after fire all year long. Great, amazing paint jobs. I'm just astounded. Here comes Blaise Bear. How you doing, sir?
Hello.
Welcome to the shelf. Shooting the Shelf.
Thank you. You guys are going to make me blush with all these accolades and whatnot.
Well, they are very well earned. So we are very excited to look at your stuff tonight, take a look at your Instagram, kind of hear about your story. But before that, we've got a little thing that we call shelf selections. And that is some pictures that Jesse and I found during the week that inspired us. We're going to pull those up now. We're going to talk about them, see if you have any thoughts on it. And hopefully the folks in the chat, you may find somebody new here on Instagram that you haven't been following. And you can then give them a follow and it'll make your Instagram feed that much cooler. So without further ado, the first one this week comes from yours truly. And this is a sir.dork on Instagram post, and he has kind of a behind the scenes video on this that is really freaking cool. So this photo has Buzz Lightyear there. He's got a couple army guys down there at the bottom, and he's hanging from one that is parachuting down. The way that he did this, he actually had the Buzz Lightyear propped up, and he dropped that parachute army guy and was photographing it each time until it got to a point where it looked like it was in his hand. So he just kept dropping it over and over again until it got to the right spot. So it looks like he was hovering down from that parachute army guy. And I just think that this photo is just really fun. It's cheeky, and I like it.
This is a great picture. It's a little small on my screen, so I didn't realize there was a parachute there at first. But as soon as you said parachute, I thought it was like a filtered out mountain in the distance. But yeah, I think that's a really fun picture, and I really like it. I like that it's the actual little static army guys and not like articulated ones. That's really cool.
And I credit where credit's due. Dub3 did send that to me. He's been doing a very good job. We announced a couple weeks ago, hey, if you see pictures you think would be good for shelf selections, let us know. Dub3 has been on top of it, so thank you very much. Blaise, any comments on this one?
Yeah, it's cool. I dig it. It's very light and fun, and like Jesse said, I really I appreciate the use of the little green army men. It takes me back to my childhood, certainly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you ever line them up on a railing or a fence post or something and shoot them with BB guns?
Not with BB guns, but there were definitely some firecrackers involved. And
oh, okay.
All right. Next one is one of Jesse's.
So I, of course, could not pass this up because I was recently gifted this figure from Curtis. And this is Amusing King, one of my all-time favorite characters, and a really awesome Mafex figure, Ahsoka. And I just love I like the twirl effects on the lightsabers and just that really rocky terrain where her sabers and her face, just that little bit of her face and her Leiku popping out, just really bring all the color into this shot. I just thought it was a really fun, and I mean, it's Ahsoka, so I have a few things that always really catch my attention. Kind of if you ever play apples to apples with me, and you, if I'm the judge and you lay down Samuel L. Jackson, you will automatically win.
Okay, all right.
That round, anyway.
So, question for you, Jesse, on this figure, the cloak, the two lightsabers, like everything in the shot besides the background, that comes with the figure, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mine did not come with awesome rocky terrain.
Gotcha. Just wanted to check because I didn't know if he had added extra soft goods or an extra saber or something.
Yeah, it's a really cool wired cloak. It's really thin, so it has that cool texture to the fabric and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the light kind of. Go ahead.
Is that the Mafex or the Figure Arts?
Mafex, right?
Mafex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks really good. I like the extra glow effect, the kind of radiating energy, the pose. Yeah, it's all really cool. I like this a lot. He did a good job. It's a very good action shot. So
yeah,
Blaise?
It's definitely cool, and it definitely makes me want to get my hands on that figure. I got the Mafex Bo-Katan recently, and that was great. And
nice.
This one has definitely been on my on my radar, but I kind of wanted to see which was better, this or the Figure Arts. And by all accounts, it looks like this is the superior figure, and this is a great shot.
It's my first legit Mafex figure, and I'm beyond. I had to put it up on a shelf that I couldn't get to, just so I don't constantly fidget with it, because I don't want to wear it out. It's so cool. I'll get it down every now and then and play and pose with it, but if it's within arm reach, I'm going to fiddle with it too much.
All right, my next one, and this, listen, sometimes people will send me stuff and they'll be like, hey, what do you think about this thing that I did? Kind of like, should this be a shelf selection? And, sometimes maybe it should, sometimes maybe it shouldn't. This is Mantu Amaro. He sent this to me today. And I was like, heck yeah, that should be a shelf selection. Like, look at this. We've got the new Skellies. We got that Conan figure. I mean, listen, I know I'm not the biggest Frazetta guy in the world, but I mean, just like the way that he's kind of changed the color on this a little bit so that it looks very Frazetta-ish. Yeah, this is just badass. So, you know, listen, folks, if you do a photo as awesome as this, definitely send it my way, and I'll very much consider it for shelf selections. But yeah, this thing's awesome. I love the shield bash on that one where he's just like clocked that skeleton and his head's like jerked backwards, and then you got the one like holding onto his leg there at the bottom, and then you got this other one that you just see his foot in the air like on top of the rock. Like, yeah, this is just a ton of fun. So loving this. I can't wait. I haven't gotten my shipping notice yet because I ordered some extra stuff with the Skellies. I didn't just order Skellies. So I'm still waiting on mine, but these look so much fun to play with. I can't wait to get my hands on them.
You're gonna love them. The poses are like comparable to the Valiant Knight, you know, as far as like the dynamic poses you can get them into. And I love that, like, you know, are there 4 skeletons here or 3? Because he could have easily just taken off the legs from the one and put them on that rock. So just creative way to, you know, get more quantity out of your look if you can hide stuff like that. Yeah, this is really fun. The first thing I did think was Frazetta, other than holy crap, that's awesome. But it reminds me of almost like kind of like a mid-70s style fantasy movie, just like that really kind of washed out lighting and everything. It reminds me of you know, some of that stuff where it's just, you know, not super in focus and has a little dreamy quality to it. It's a really cool shot.
I can see it in like one of those like the art story books that we would get kind of like as kids and stuff. I could see this in something like that too. So Blaise, anything on this one?
It's cool. I love it. And I love all things Frazetta. And honestly, if, you know, like at first glance, you know, I thought it was like an illustration or a painting or something. It wasn't until I started seeing the articulation joints and the peg holes and stuff that I realized it was actually figures. It's great. It's great work.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that he just kind of changed the tone of it and some of the like the, I don't know if it's the focus or the, I don't know, it's just not as sharp as it like a photo to where it does look like it would maybe be a painting. To me, that just totally screams Frazetta. So, and
if I have one more thing about it, the having it be a little bit brighter and lighter, like usually people want to take Conan and make it like dark and gritty and fiery and like, you know, like, you know, which is cool, but it's fun that you can get that same feeling of him being a badass when it's like a sunny day in the forest, you know, fighting these skeletons, and it still feels as epic and badass.
Next one is Jesse's.
So I think Dub3, you can let me know. I can't remember if you sent this to me or if I just came across it. Of course, Oleg Thygar caught my attention, but I really love that lighting effect in the back. I don't know if it's Christmas lights, kind of like mine, but I just, the way they're so perfectly like rounded out, or if it's an effect, I don't know what, but it just really caught my attention. And it feels like seeing him, you know, moving through like a space station or some sort of like larger, you know, cosmic setting. And, you know, that's like, you know, like neon signs on a street, like Blade Runner or something like that. And I just thought it was really cool. And the 2 guns, it looks like they lit up the guns and some shoulder cannons off his arms there. Not sure what those are, but yeah, I just thought, and his eyes, the eyes look like they're enhanced a little bit there.
It looks like the mini guns that you plug into the wrist, but somehow he attached it to the, oh no, they're on the sides of the gun.
They're on the sides of the gun. Yeah, I see it now.
So he plugged them in where that clear port goes to plug it on the thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I looked at this and I'm like, all the color lights in the background match the background of our show. So I figured you just picked it so it would be like the absolute perfect shot to go with our wallpaper that we used. And yeah, it looks like it definitely belongs in your apartment there. So
it's way cooler.
Cool figure, cool shot. I do love the lighting. I mean, my favorite is bare chested, sexy Thygar, but this is still pretty cool. I like it. Blaise?
Oh, I'm sorry. And this is Rory _snaps_toys on Instagram.
Correct. And actually, I need to see if I'm following that one. Blaise, any thoughts on this one?
Very cool. I like the background lights too. It's something, it's a little different. And Blade Runner was the first thing that kind of popped into my head too. It's cool. I mean, it's a great figure too, so you can't go wrong with Oleg.
Yeah, for sure. I was following this account, but folks, make sure you are as well. So, and my next one here, this is Paul Brown with an E, 12. Paul Brown 12. Obviously, world's been all talking about Deadpool Wolverine. Amazing movie. We did a review on the OffWorld channel as well as a Wednesday one shot on this channel recently, and this is just a cool shot. I like it. Like, the work that he did with the electricity, the light, the way that he's got that light coming from the door, and then just the poses on the two figures. They had some pretty, without spoilers or anything, they had some pretty brutal fights in that movie. And I think this is just kind of showing a little bit of that. So I like it.
Absolutely. The poses are great. I love the lighting. The thing that is really capturing my attention is the arcing and bending of the lightning or the explosion effects going on there. Like you can almost hear that like little zzz, like I can't imitate it probably, but that zippy kind of curl sound,
like a bug zapper.
but like more vicious. When Back to the Future, when you get like that right perfect mix of surround sound and you hear like the car going and getting ready to like fire back and everything. But yeah, this is really cool.
Blaise?
Yeah, it is really cool. The movie was awesome. It was a great return to form for Marvel in general, in my opinion, and I've really been enjoying all the Deadpool Wolverine stuff we've been seeing out there in the toy world, and this is great. It captures a lot of that energy from the movie. I dig it.
It is interesting when there's a new trailer drops, or there's a new movie or TV show or something, that all of a sudden you see this like massive amounts of toy photography around whatever subject it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I like it. Wait, hold on. I went the wrong way. This is Jesse's next one.
Yes. Sorry, toys and photography. I know I'm kind of surprised. Well, my first thought was I'm going to send this because I sent my stuff early in the week because I was traveling and I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to give Curtis my stuff. And I was like, I know Curtis loves snowy stuff and winter themed characters. So I was like, well, if he has it, he'll either just discard it and let me keep it and pick another one for himself, or he hadn't seen it yet. But amazing shot. I guess this is the new, is it Master Wang, the Siberian tiger version?
This is the white Wang, which I thought would be smaller. I don't know for some reason, but it's not. It's pretty massive.
So yeah, this is the new Siberian Master Wang.
Sorry, I was just saying it's a massive white Wang. Go ahead.
Remember,
Jesse.
We're on Shooting the Shelf, not OffWorld.
That's his name. He's a big guy in his name. Whatever. Go ahead.
And Thalen Frostbow moving through a snowy forest. And I just thought it was really cool. I had not seen this version of his figure yet. I'd heard about it. But seeing him paired up with her, I just, it's like, I want to know what this story is. Like, what mission are they on? And it pulled me right into whatever this story is and got me thinking. So I really like this one.
Yeah, I love the shot. Thalen's one of my favorite figures. Love her color scheme. I hope we get some more characters in Mythic Legions with that color scheme. It's so good. And this Wang, I bought the other one and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't wait. I mean, I didn't know this was coming, obviously, but I would much rather have this one. So I may end up, trading or giving away the other one to try to get this one, because I think it looks absolutely amazing. You're right. I love any kind of Arctic snowy themed characters. And this thing's just awesome. And the way they put the picture together with the snow and stuff, I've seen different things that they've used, like, you know, potato flakes and laundry detergent and all kinds of different things for snow. So I'm not sure exactly what he used here, but it looks perfect. So yeah, great
Of course,
shot.
you bring up the potato flakes.
It's just something that I've seen people use. So whatever he did, it looks great and I love it. And I'm definitely going to need to get me a white wing myself. So Blaise?
Yeah, I saw this one this week, and it definitely caught my eye. I'm also a sucker for the winter themed figures and stuff, and Thalen is one of my favorite figures as well. And
Yeah.
it's just a great shot. The composition, the lighting, you know, the snow effect, everything about it is really cool. It just makes me really want to know what the heck is going on in this moment.
Yeah.
Brent said dandruff, and I'm seeing Ali Sheedy from Breakfast Club doing that on the paper, like over this picture. Go ahead.
There's something in it where it feels like they maybe don't necessarily want to be together on this mission. Like,
oh yeah.
Kind of
I
like allies of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just giving off Blue Eye Samurai vibes because of the snows
Totally.
and everything. But yeah, absolutely dig it. And I really like the color scheme of this version of Master Wang than the full orange color. It makes him feel a little more, I don't know, severe, a little more, you know, wise or learned or something. I don't know. It just, I might have to track this one down.
Yeah, I need one too. I didn't know if this was like a pre-order thing or if this is actually out and available. So if anybody knows how I can get my hands on a white wang, let me know. I would definitely love to do that. So
right, let's move on to the next one so we can stop.
Next photo. This is our good buddy Zombie13.customs on Instagram. You may know him as Eric Borges in the Mythic Legions Cabal. And this thing is just fantastic. Like, I mean, I never would have thought to put all of these parts together in this way. It's just so unique and cool. And I love the way that it came together. And then the paint job on that eye, man, it looks like if you look at that close-up picture, it looks like within that eye there's like little like hexagons or something almost within the eye. And then the way that he glossed it over, it looks so good. He just did an amazing job. Obviously, Zombie is a legend in our customizing world. He's been doing this for a long time, but he absolutely killed it on this thing. It is so creative and just hit it out of the ballpark. So
1,000%. The eye on this, like, I had to like do a double take and make sure this wasn't one of those digibashes where he like cropped in like a zoomed in shot of an actual insect onto this just to play around. Not that he's not talented enough, like it just looks the texture of the like the sheen on the eye, and like you said, the little hexagons and everything. This is you know, amazing. And the way he like fused, I don't know, the hips together to get the quadruped legs and the I don't know, abdomen or whatever it is on the back with the stinger from the, it's just really, really amazing custom.
Yeah. Blaise?
I agree with everything you guys said. I mean, you know, Zombie's work is always, you know, he's always great. His painting is great. His customizing in general is great. But this shows like what, in my opinion, he really excels at, which is thinking out of the box and kind of doing stuff that, you know, most of us probably just it would never have occurred to me to put, you know, those 4 skeleton legs together like that. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
really cool.
You're right as far as that. Like he does a lot of, you know, cutting things with X-Acto knives and Dremel and sculpting with epoxy sculpt, and you know, it's not just painting, but his painting's spectacular as well. So yeah, just a lot of creative stuff. So great job, Zombie. I mean, we've had you on shelf selections a few times before, but this thing is just awesome. So next one is Jesse's.
So this is did I pick 2 from the same person? Toys and Photography.
You did.
usually I try not to double up, but this one was just too cool. I know Curtis really loves the Mezco turtles. I haven't seen any in hand yet, but just them with all their other characters. And this might have been one that was someone sent to me. I don't remember. It's my brain's overflowing with yes. But yeah, really cool, really fun shot, just really dynamic. I love just the whole like unified look of these, because last week we had some where the turtles were fighting Mario, so it was a really juxtaposition of styles and looks. And because these, I believe, are all Mezco figures, there's just a really like uniformity and consistency through like the scale and the look of all of it, and it's just a lot of fun. All four brothers in a brawl. Mikey's not getting face planted into water. Donnie looks to be doing like the most badass move on the shot. And I love that for him. I know he's your favorite guy.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, I love the feel of this picture. It reminds me of like the Adam West Batman movie, where they had like all the goons that worked for like the Penguin and stuff. They were kind of in those striped outfits and things, so that it just looks like they're facing off against a bunch of goons. Especially this one in the bottom corner. It looks like he's maybe wearing kind of like a sailor cap or something. And yeah, it's just really cool action. A lot going on. It like the more you look at it, the more things that you see. So yeah, just really cool shot. It's one that, like I said, you can look at for a long time. So
for sure. Yeah.
Blaise?
Yeah, I agree. It's great composition. Almost reminds me of like a comic book cover. It's there's a lot going on, but there's a lot to catch your eye and to kind of suck you in. And the lighting is great too.
Yeah, it definitely sucks you in. I love that. I love that about it when it does that. So and since Jesse picked two from the same artist, normally we have to keep it to a certain amount of slides so that Jesse doesn't beat me because we're putting stuff on Instagram. But since he picked two from the same artist, I guess that means I could throw in an extra picture here. So I threw in this extra one. And this was another up and coming artist in the community. This just.shelve.it. He did a brute scale version of Asterion. Now, this is something I know a lot of people have talked about, wanting kind of a version 2 of Asterion where he's more of a brute scale size. And this guy just, man, he crushed this thing. I love the Xylerna shield that he did there. The colors look great. And it's just really crisp and clean. Love the fading from the head down into the chest, from the black into the brown. Everything on this is just super clean and cool looking, and he's just a big, massive dude. So, and I love my big, massive dudes. So this really just, yeah, it brought it home for me. So, Jesse, any thoughts on this one?
Well, I'm flattered. Thank you, Curtis. This one was a lot of fun. It's been one I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I did not get the best photos of it. There is like the black and the dark brown on the head and the neck that fade into the lighter brown of the torso. But the way the shots came out, it just looks like the head's all black. But it's really cool to have gotten to play with this. And I'm glad I thought of using that Xylernian shield to, instead of just trying to replicate the decal or the tampo on the other shield. I'm like, man, it was hard enough trying to do Urzox a couple years ago. And I was like, and that was a much simpler design or whatever. There was no way I was drawing all those little squiggles and antlers and everything coming off of Xylerna. So yes.
Also, I want to go back and just get that like 10 seconds of from where I said I was throwing in an extra picture and the reaction on your face to where when you saw the picture and then all of a sudden you were kind of like humbled and stuff. So I want to see that reaction, like from really, Curtis, to oh. So that was great. So I'm gonna definitely clip that and play it over and over again. Blaise, any thoughts on this Asterion 2 brute scale?
This is awesome. I saw this week when you posted it, Jesse, and It's awesome. It's really cool. You know, like Curtis said, a lot of us have talked about wanting a Minotaur in brute scale, and you pulled it off, and it's great. I zoomed in as soon as you posted this, and the fade on the, you know, the head to the torso is fantastic. You know, it's got all the beats of the original figure, so that you know who the character is, but it's still like, you know, it's upgraded. It's great. You really knocked this one out of the park, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I will say I'm going to give him some crap for it, but I do respect his opinion. Patrick Boyle, your stance on not just doing the straight recreation of the original is what led me to think about doing this as a brute scale instead of just trying, because I had the parts to put him together as something else last year and I didn't. And yeah, so, and he's actually sitting here staring at me because I need to put a stand on him because he fell off.
Oh, I thought you meant
the
Patrick
shelf.
Boyle was sitting there staring.
No, my
Oh.
Asterion is right here because he tumbled off the shelf.
I thought you did your version of a Mythic Legion character, and immediately Patrick just showed up at your house and was staring at you.
I don't think I haven't had like those horror movie vibes where I thought if I'm like start putting this figure pieces together to figure out what they were and then change them for what new things I'm going to do. But yeah.
Jesse goes to sleep with his made up Gorgo in his bed, and he wakes up and he opens his eyes and Patrick's just hovering over him in his bed.
With a fork from that restaurant out near Philly.
Well, in all seriousness, Jesse, you killed this. It was an amazing job. I love every bit of what you did there. So yeah, great work. And we do have a super chat from a one Van Johnson. Says, I missed the intro. Can you replay the song real quick? Good evening, everyone. Blaise is the best. You rock, my friend. Keep sharing your art. Well, yes, Blaise does. He is the best. He does rock, and we do hope he keeps sharing his art. Unfortunately, we cannot replay the song. Tried doing that a few weeks back. Jesse made a good point that it's at the beginning of the show. You can just rewatch it. He did talk about maybe putting the song out there by itself as a separate video so that people could watch it over and over again if they wanted to. But you know, by making you go back and watch it again, that gets us an extra view on the video.
Which, for the record, is nothing that ever crosses my mind. I'm just
doesn't
I'm not a
do
professional, but I
So.
try to have a minor suggestion of a standard.
There you go. But we appreciate the $4.99. Thank you very much. That goes to help with any of the giveaways or anything that we do here.
Please, do you mind? We have a giveaway tonight. Do you mind if we set that up before we jump into our chat so we can start collecting some names?
Not at all.
All right. So I was able to land. Now, I will preface this with anyone who went to IshCon this week or was able to secure one of these from folks who went to IshCon, please don't enter this drawing. I mean, just because I want to try to give this to someone who didn't have a chance to get down there. But I brought home an extra heavy gunner.
Oh man, I wish I could enter.
I know, me too. Awesome.
You could definitely enter, Blaise. That's
absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, whoever wins, will have free domestic.
Yeah, definitely
domestic US shipping. If it's outside of that, I might ask for some help with shipping internationally. No, I will. Yeah, new inbox, all that good to go. It's a fun figure. I did not get a chance to pull one out to show off tonight, but Dorclair, sorry, can you repeat the last 2 minutes? I will try to get the song up as a video on its own this week, Van, so you can watch that anytime you want. So I'm going to pull up the giveaway tool. I've got it ready to go. So it's going to be hashtag
Yes, Imperial, you're right. I did not go to IshCon, but I think it would be a little tacky for me to put in for a giveaway on our show, so I will not. But
and I'm pretty sure Curtis's words when I asked him if he wanted me to bring one of these back for him, he's like, "Nah, screw that green tusk. I don't want that garbage."
that is not at all what I said. I said I would wait for the sale. But
oh, right,
yeah.
All
right. Well,
all right. So we'll let that run
that
for a little bit, and I'll bring up
so
this little guy down here.
Yeah, before we get into kind of your Instagram and all that kind of stuff, let's first kind of roll back and talk a little bit about this weekend. So, we had the new Cosmic reveal yesterday. Blaise, what are your thoughts on? First of all, are you into Cosmic Legions? Is that a thing that interests you? What's your excitement level on Cosmic Legions versus Mythic? And then what did you think about the reveal special yesterday?
I'm all in on Cosmic. In fact, Cosmic is what started me off with, both lines really. As far the reveal was great. There were a couple figures I was not that I disliked them, but there were a couple that I was kind of, not crazy about, but they were still cool, and I'll find a use for them. But then there were also 3 or 4 figures that were just, instant knockouts in my opinion. Cog he might be the coolest figure in the whole Cosmic Legions line, in my opinion.
Wow.
I really dug him. And
so is that your favorite of the wave?
Yeah. The David Williams figure is also really cool. I'm not huge into Motu, but it's a cool looking design, and just the whole idea that they would do something like that is awesome. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Cog was probably my favorite.
Yeah, he's definitely in my top 3. I am also very excited about that David Williams Buzz Off. I just think that's, we've said it before when it comes to like the tribute figures that they've done for people. Nobody really is deserving of a tribute figure. Like, it's not something that other toy lines do, but it just shows how connected the Four Horsemen are with this community, that they do these things for people. And the fact that they actually took a custom that somebody made and they're making it come to life as an actual figure in the line is just probably the coolest thing they've ever done. They've done a lot of cool tributes and things for people, but this is probably the coolest that they've done. And I'm just so happy for Dave, because he's such a great guy. Seriously, he's the nicest guy in the whole world. So to have this happen to somebody like him is just awesome. So, but I think my favorite is actually the first figure they revealed, the Hylor. I really like that. I love the soft goods, the desert wasteland look, the head with the tubes coming out of it, the alternate head there with that paint job on that head is fantastic. And listen, I know some people, may go in the cabal, throw a fit about the soft goods, but I think it looks great on this figure. I absolutely love it. Definitely going to be ordering multiples of this one. So
yeah, that one is really cool too.
Cool. Yeah. What about you, Jesse? You got to see these firsthand. So is there first of all, is there a difference between like the shots online versus what you saw in hand as far as which ones stick out and which ones are your favorite?
I didn't get to look at them after the show, because it was I ran back to grab the posters right away. But I did during Purple Gang. I got to watch Joe Vesapolo packing them up, so I got to see there was a couple of them that were still out as I was back there for that. They're, of course, these are the paint masters, so they're a little bit larger than the production. Like they showed last week, the Maxilius compared to the Builder 2 skeleton, how
it's like 4% bigger or something, I think they said.
They're like 104%. And Dorkler, yes, I believe Jeremy commented that he does have the same
as like the
odd piece
sentry.
underneath.
Yeah.
As the it's the same thing there. So you can just remove the soft good piece, and that will be underneath there. So
yeah, so you don't have to like threaten to quit the line or anything. So
now, I mean, hey, some people just have strong reactions to stuff. It's okay. I will say I think they're all amazing. The Ox Crew has been the story that's really pulled me into the cosmic side of. I mean, the figures are all cool, but the story going on here is awesome. I think it comes as no surprise to anyone. And I will say the pictures here are a little weird because you don't really get the scale of them side by side. I know Jeremy did a lineup of them, but it was all like these crop photos. It wasn't like or someone posted all of them lined up somewhere. I think maybe in this top picture here.
Jeremy had one in the show that looked really cool with you're talking about the different Ox Crew members together, the 4.
No. This
gotcha.
Of this wave. Because like Agcha here, the Vblian that looks like Uka from the first line, like he looks way smaller than he is. Okay. Partially because his knees are bent. He is a 2.0 build. These are the same arms, I believe, as the 2 gray figures, the Altar Silovis and I'm drawing a blank, or Aes Cipitrion. Yeah. But like that neck piece comes up way off the torso. It's like last year when they showed him, it was one piece. They said they don't know if that's going to be an extension piece like the Equidron head. But he's a lot bigger than he looks in these pictures. I mean, he's not ogre scale or anything, but I can't remember.
So is that your number one?
He's my number one. Like Jeremy caught me during the I know there were some technical issues. There was a really bad storm going on last night, and they had people trying to do stuff, but I know they went up on Instagram pretty quick after they started talking about him. But he's my favorite. I really like this race of character, and just the story they worked with him and Bungie, the mountain back. I just thought was really cool, and the fact that he's such like a deadshot assassin, a sniper, I thought was really cool. And his color scheme, like when I saw him, the physical one on the stage when Joe was packing him up, it gives off very much kind of like shark, like the patterns, like a tropical shark or something.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Like the blue, and it just was really cool to see him. And yeah, the fact that he's that bond with the mount, how they kind of like bond with each other, I thought was really neat. And yeah, having Jeremy like catch my face because I was right on the edge of the center aisle and be like, oh yeah, Jesse's smiling right down here. So like, and just the different goggles. And I'm glad that this species has a lot of variety, at least 2 varieties of colors to them.
Yeah, the thing I love about the cosmic, it's so crazy. Like there's so many like wild, crazy things that there's something for everybody. Like that Agcha doesn't do anything for me, but like for you, it's your favorite. The Jabara figure. Like I don't care about that one, but like Mira, I know, was talking in the studio today saying that she loves it. I know Darla really likes that one. So there's like something for everybody. So yeah, I just love the different variety. It lets you kind of, decide what you want to do. Like that Hylor, I'm probably gonna have to pick up like 4 or 5 of that Hylor. So, but there may be other people that don't like that with the tusk armor and the repaints and stuff. So yeah. But I did say with the cog, when they did the 4 Ox Crew members side by side, it looked really cool. Just the different colors and sizes of those suits.
Totally. So, and I love his big chunky feet.
Yeah.
Like, it's and he's just like such a unique thing. Like, and I know Eric loves the creatures and all that stuff, and like this guy really blows that away. It's a really cool design. And I'll say overall for the wave, I love that we've got 2 former Tusk operatives that have kind of like, we don't know if they've turned their back on Tusk, but because of their situation, they're not like acting as Tusk. So I just think that's cool to see them not part of that and doing like something different. So their armors feel a little more personalized. They're not as necessarily, clean ready for inspection and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
We do have a couple super chats out there. I don't know if you can get
nice.
to those real quick, Jesse.
Yeah, sure. So we've got from Rob Zamora, dear Mr. Oso, I'm your biggest fan. I can't wait to one day own one of your head sculpts. Sincerely, Rob Zamora from California.
Okay.
I don't know. Is there something?
I have no idea. I'm lost.
Rob, you don't have to super chat again unless.
I think oso is the Spanish word for bear, so maybe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. See, that went right over our heads.
Took me a second too.
Gotcha. Well, Rob, thank you very much, and Blaise, thank you for understanding what that meant.
Yeah. And then we had
from Eddie, we got love you all. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you all. I agree. I can't wait to see you, Eddie, at whatever next show I see you at.
Yeah, I love some Eddie. Was he at IshCon?
If he was, I did not see him.
Okay. All right.
And I might not have gotten to talk to everybody there, but I think I physically saw everybody that walked through that room.
Gotcha. So there is the reveal thing from last night. Are we gonna let the giveaway keep running for a little bit, or do you feel like I don't know what we're at?
Yeah, let's let it keep running for a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Blaise.
Yes, sir.
So okay, now first of all, gotta ask, because on one you got Instagram and Facebook. One is Blaise Bear, one is Bear Blaise. What's the deal? Where who are you? What's going
Blaise
on?
Bear. Blaise is the first name. Yeah.
Okay.
I will change the title after the episode is done.
It's all good. I had a teacher in either high school or middle school that for the entire year had it twisted. So I get it.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about how you got started into this. How long have you been customizing, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. I guess really I started painting, as like a kid with the in the 80s. I was big into D&D, and they had these little pewter, figures, and that was really the closest you could get to kind of fantasy, figures. And I always enjoyed doing models and stuff like that. But then probably when I actually started customizing was probably maybe a couple years after, around when my daughter was born, 2011, 2012, sometime around there. I kind of got back into Star Wars, the 4-inch figures. And at the time, there were not a lot of the figures that I wanted were not, in existence. So I kind of, said, I'm going to start making these. And that was pre, 3D printing. So it was kind of like, trial and error of hand sculpting and, kit bashing and all that kind of stuff. And so I did that for a while. And then when Black Series came out, I kind of made the switch to 6-inch, and I really haven't looked back since. And then I did a decent number of Star Wars and Marvel customs, but it really wasn't until I bought into this line that I really kind of went, all in.
Yeah.
So.
And when did you get involved in the Mythic Legion line? Like where did you jump on?
I don't remember the year, 2 or 3 years ago. It was right around when right before Alithia came out.
Okay.
I had seen them for years, and there were many occasions where I'd be, at work scrolling Big Bad Toy Store, like, oh, that looks really cool. Maybe I'll pick that up. And I just never pulled the trigger. And then it was actually Cosmic Legions. I remember I was on a Star Wars forum, the Rebel Scum forums, which I used to be pretty active in. And someone posted, hey, Four Horsemen are doing a new sci-fi line and blah, blah, blah. And this might, supplement Star Wars pretty well. and I looked at them and I was like, wow, these are really cool. These are putting Black Series to shame. So I pre-ordered a couple of those figures, and then while as you know, it was a couple year wait. So while I was waiting for Cosmic Legions, I figured, let me get a couple Mythic Legions to kind of see what these figures are all about.
Yeah.
And it was all downhill from there.
So as far as like when you were younger, were you more into like the sci-fi thing, or like, swords and sorcery? Like, were you kind of equal into both, or what were you into when you were younger?
Probably, equal into both. I mean, I saw the first run of Star Wars as a little kid. It's one of the first movies I remember seeing. But I also, I read Tolkien in like 4th or 5th grade, so I've always been big into fantasy. It just seemed like there wasn't a lot for fantasy as far as toys, when I was coming up. You had Motu, but Motu was also kind of, sci-fi and, a little more out there. And but yeah, so as far as figures, it was definitely more sci-fi growing up, but I've always had a soft spot for fantasy.
Gotcha. Now, last year at Legions Con, you were at Legions Con. You didn't have your own table. You were set up. Was it at Noble Bear's table that you were set up?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I'll be this year too. It's me,
Okay.
Anthony Velez, who runs Noble Bear Customs, and then Reynolds Cruz will be there again too.
Okay.
Which, can I interject real quick? I won't
Your
do
show.
a whole lot of talking about IshCon, but I got to see both those guys at IshCon this weekend, and some of their new stuff they've got coming. I know Anthony's got his I forget what it's called, the robot, robot love or robot heart something, or I can't remember what it's called. I feel horrible. But he had a teaser of a new like cycloptic robot dog. Kind of looks like a 1/12 scale, almost Ravage. I mean, it doesn't look like Ravage, but that's just the easiest comparison I can think of to make, that he was showing there. That was really cool. And I feel stupid for not taking pictures of all this stuff, but it was really cool to get to see both of them make the trip. So it's cool that you'll be there with their stuff and everything. So I thought I'd throw that out there real quick.
Awesome.
I'm actually working on the paint, I guess, paint master, whatever you want to call it, for that latest droid. I was trying to get it finished up today, but some things got in the way. But they're really cool. It's all, it's got like little magnetic snap-ons and add-on pieces, and it's a cool piece.
It's one of these things where, I'll be honest, I did not see your stuff last year because when you're running a table, it's very hard to get around. Like, you have to kind of pick and choose your opportunities to get around there. And even like, Dorklear was saying, like, he was just walking the con the whole time and didn't make it to everything. So if you're trying to run a table at the same time and do it, it's like very, very difficult unless you kind of know where you're going. But we did have an interaction last year because you actually were helping me because I was freaking out.
Yes.
I had lost a whole bunch of money. I don't know if I didn't tell you this story.
I remember that.
I don't think so.
So I went to the Euro Legions table, right? And I was buying a couple heads from John Caulfield. And I had already made a few sales and stuff, and I had brought some cash with me for making change and whatever at my table. So I had like $1,000 in cash on me. Okay. And I went to their table. I bought a couple things from John, and I walked away, and I didn't have my wallet. So I got back to the table and I don't have my wallet. My wallet's missing. Right. And Blaise had been there too. He was talking to, I think, Richard about some stuff that Richard had, because he had quite a bit of parts from other people and stuff. And so I go back to the table and we find my wallet, but there's no cash in it. Right. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, this sucks. I just lost $1,000. So I'm like freaking out, and we're looking all over, and we're trying to see if it maybe, I don't know, fell into a box or whatever. And I'm talking to Joe Viteri to see if there's maybe any cameras in the area and stuff. And Blaise has helped me the whole time. Turns out I had separated the cash that I had and left it at the table in like a separate pouch that I had with Darla. So when I went to the table with my wallet, I didn't have any cash other than what I paid John. So even though I did leave my wallet there and found my wallet, I'm thinking that I lost all this cash, and I didn't. So there was like about a 5 to 10 minute freak out session where I'm like losing my mind that, you know, I just lost all this money. But you know, Blaise was very helpful at trying to help me figure out what happened and stuff. And turns out he couldn't help me because I was just an idiot. So
what I'm hearing here is that Blaise got your money and held it ransom until you promoted him this year. No, that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely
I don't know
ridiculous.
what you're talking about.
No,
Curtis cannot be bought off.
I'll be honest. I didn't even know that Blaise had stuff showing last year until I just recently I heard that he had stuff at Noble Bear's table. But once again, you know, I think I maybe saw out of, I don't know how many tables there are, but I maybe saw like 7 tables last year, 6 or 7 tables. And it was just because I specifically was like, told my wife, hey, watch the table for a second. I'm going to run over to this table and be right back, you know, because you just don't have time. But so first of all, Blaise, appreciate you helping out with that. That was definitely a scary situation.
No, I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, but I am kicking myself because then all year this year, I'm seeing you put out just fire after fire with these paint jobs. And I wish I would have got something from you last year. So can we? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jesse.
I was going to say, before we switch over to start looking at his Instagram, which is I feel where you were going with that.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's run the drawing here for the new Tusk Heavy Gunner from Cosmic Legions that debuted at IshCon this week. The green and the orange on this are really cool. I think, and it's really cool. I held it up, opened it in the light, and the there's like a I don't know if it's metallic, but a really like reflective blue, like in the piping underneath, like in all the crevices under the armor. I know you've painted a lot of these, Curtis, you know, but so like I was sitting there fiddling with it, waiting to go into in the middle of the show yesterday afternoon. I was just sitting out in front of the door, and I think Tanya McCoy was sitting on the chair next to me, or maybe it was we were doing the pop and part swap and I was like, oh wow, there's like a whole different texture that, you know, like, because it's kind of like muted orange and greens, kind of like dulled down a little bit, but then you get that like pop coming out from the lines, and it was really cool. So
that's cool.
I think this is a really fun figure. People are going to really like, and I did see the Bardrick and Krotos soft goods arms and legs, and they are I won't say they're 100% match, but unless you have a very specific vision that can tell the whatever difference there might be, it's pretty much the same orange. If you want to give them the orange from Krotos pants and Bardrick's arms, or vice versa.
Well, I did not put in for this giveaway. I'm excited for those that did, including my wife. I hope that she wins.
Okay. All right. Blaise, you want to give me the 3-point countdown, and then I'll hit the draw.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Roll it.
Let's see what's going on.
Saint Jesse. That might be your new name, Saint Jesse.
I'd rather not. Dorklair.
Dorklair. Very nice.
Congratulations, Bill. Well, you already got like a dozen of these, didn't you? No, I'm just kidding.
He did amazing review on the Heavy Gunner, by the way. If you folks haven't checked it out, check it out. Yes. He's also got a review up on the new skeleton. Both of those are fantastic. So also, if you haven't checked out yet, Billy Beige Customs did a nice little video on the skeleton too. And he just did some like popping of elbows into knees and all kinds of weird stuff. So there's a lot of crazy things you can do with that skeleton. So check out Billy Beige Customs and Dorklair on YouTube.
Very cool. Bill, we've got a way to communicate, so we'll get in touch, and I'll get that out to you this week.
Beautiful.
Let me stop sharing the screen and switch over to Blaise's Instagram, which you can find scrolling across the bottom here at bear.blaise on Instagram. Industry. If you've ever seen Mystery Science Theater 3000, you know, the movie one where they do This Island Earth, there's that little short where it's like farming, and so they're one of those old like 50s where they're just kind of like machines will, mow down your crops. And then like the guys are talking in the bottom and they're like industry. And you just hear like, doot, 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 like just silly music makes no sense. Anyway, that's what goes on in my head. Speaking of head.
Dude, this is crazy already. Yeah, let's just start going through these, man. Like, tell us about this. What's going on here? I think you
lost
might
audio.
be muted. Yeah, we don't hear you, Blaise. You might have your maybe it's your on the button on your headset or something. Is there maybe a mute on there? Says your mic isn't connected. So, well, while he works on that, like this thing is just fantastic, man. I love the bright color. Like, I would not think to paint somebody's beard blue, but I love it. It's like the Billy Madison. I painted the duck blue because I wanted to see what a blue duck would look like. Yeah, this thing is just fantastic. It is so cool, and I love that giant fist on it too.
I believe some of these parts are from the Planetary Dog, where they were giving away certain pieces of like the Cosmic Dwarf bits with each order. But I love the fact that he did the goblin trick or the gnome trick and put boots right into the knees to make this guy shorter.
Blaise, you may want it's still showing that your mic's not connected. You may want to maybe leave and come back. Like you could just click on that link again that I sent you, and maybe that would work. I'm not sure, but yeah, we're not hearing you. Yeah, that's I didn't even notice that as far as the knees going in the feet, but that's a good call. Yeah, the parts are cool for sure, but it's just these paint jobs, like the bright colors and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go to the if you go back, that orc that was down in the next row. One more. That dude, like the hair on that, just the highlights on it. It just pops, man. And I love the like the face, the depth on the face and stuff, and the highlights on that. All right, we got you now.
Can you hear me now?
We got you.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Man.
It happens.
Dude, this is absolutely gorgeous. Like I love the highlights on the hair, and then like the face, like the different areas that are kind of where light would hit that really pops, and then the other areas that are really shaded. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of your painting technique with something like this?
I guess it really depends on the piece. As far as like, I found through trial and error, like the best way for me to sort of be successful is to kind of have a plan with what I want to do, and sort of like a set series of steps as far as doing something like this. So for something like this, typically I would prime it. I don't remember if I primed this one black. I don't remember it, but usually I would do like a primer and then a lighter dry brush over top the prime. Say you primed in gray, then like a white dry brush over the whole thing. And then I like to use contrast paints for like the hair and the beards, because it kind of gives you that, that different depth of color. And then typically what I'll do is I'll do the hair, the beard first, and then work inwards towards the face and all the details of the face.
So when you're doing like the hair and the beard, like you doing a contrast color, and then when you're bringing out like the parts on top, are you doing a dry brush, or are you individually painting those strands, or how are you doing the
Now I'll do a
lighter
dry
part?
brush typically.
Okay.
Usually what I'll do, not a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll do like a contrast paint, thinned out with contrast medium, because as I'm sure you know, if you tried to mess with the contrast paints, the different shades react differently. Some of them work better for some things than others, but I find that if you thin them out, you get a lot more control. So what I'll do is I'll thin it out, do one or two coats over the entire, hair or beard area, and then kind of do a highlight dry brush color on top of that. Sometimes two, depending on, what I'm going for. Like with this, I did like a purple contrast, I think, for the hair and the beard, and then a kind of like it doesn't really show up in the picture, but it's kind of like a dark pink for for the highlights.
Okay. Awesome.
That's great. And
sorry, go ahead, Jesse. I was just going to ask, as far as the contrast goes, when you're talking about thinning it out with a medium, like, are you just putting like a couple drops of the contrast in there and then some of the medium and mixing it together like in a paint tray, or how are you? How
yeah,
are
you on a wet palette, either one.
Okay.
Usually I go 1-to-1 direct with the medium to the amount of contrast paint I'm using, and then because you can always build it back up if you want to.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, Jesse, go ahead.
I was just gonna if we jump back to the Cosmic Dwarf here just for a second, because we didn't get to hear any Blaise's commentary on this.
Yeah.
What is that?
Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry,
okay,
I just got some alert on the laptop.
Oh, okay.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like, what's going on here? Anyway, this is the planetary dog kit that they've been, they were piecemealing out month after month with their retirement stuff. I got a few extra pieces in a trade I did with somebody, so hopefully I don't think I'll have enough to do 2 full kits, but I have enough to do, 2 separate customs. So I think this guy will be for sale at Legion's Con.
Cool.
But most of the parts, like the pauldrons, the head, the chest plate, all that is from Planetary Dog.
Oh, that's great. I love the pressure gauges you've got worked in here. The way you,
that's
so cool.
Seba's, his detail and his sculpt it's just fantastic. He puts all those little tiny details in there that are just phenomenal.
That's super cool.
Very cool.
So then back to that orc one though, like after you do, so you did the hair, right? You talked about that. You did the contrast, do the highlights. Now you get to the face. Tell us about all of these different colors on the face, because there's a lot of depth here. How do you achieve that? And once you've done the hair, how do you do that without it, like, because especially if you're dry brushing or something, how do you do that without getting on the hair and everything else?
Yeah, like totally understandable. So for this, I think I did black, for the entire face, other than the teeth. And then I think I did 2 layers of dry brushing for the highlights, like a reddish brown, and then more of a darker pink color. And basically I just use a real small, when I do dry brushing, I almost exclusively use like cheap makeup brushes from Target or wherever, like those elf brushes. They're good, and they're like $2 a piece. I bought some fancy sets of dry brushes, and I really, for the amount of money I spent, I couldn't really discern enough of a difference to make it worthwhile. So I just use a small brush for stuff like this to try and keep it, away from the parts you don't want to put paint on.
Gotcha. So you just real careful. You don't like tape it off or mask it with anything.
No,
you're just real careful about what areas you hit.
Yeah, I very, very rarely mask anything. I just
gotcha.
And not because it's not useful. I'm lazy and I just don't want to be bothered.
Is there a certain like how big is that makeup brush that you're talking about using? Is it like super small to where you can get into these little crevices without hitting the other parts?
Yeah, you can buy. They have sets where they have like 5 or 6 different sizes, and the smallest one is not. I don't have my brushes in here, but yeah, it's not a big brush at all. It's small.
Okay. Yeah, if you could at some point, after the show, just send us the link for that. We'll actually attach it with this video of the interview, That
Sure.
way, if people want to go and take a look at those and grab some, they can.
Sure.
That'd be great.
I think
And
Eric LeBron had posted something either this past week or the week before about picking some up at Target, and I was like, "Oh, those are the exact same brushes I use," and
oh, okay,
a bunch of other people chimed in with the same thing.
gotcha.
Very cool.
And then, what about the teeth? Because these teeth look just great. Like there's a great transition from the top down to the bottom.
Yeah, I think usually for stuff like this, as far as the teeth, I'll start with like an off-white color,
Mm,
kind of maybe like like an ivory for lack of a bone color, and
mm,
then I think I did two different washes, like a sepia wash, which is kind of like that orangish brown kind of
mm.
color you see, and then a darker brown wash around the base, where there would be like more decay or whatever you want to call it. Excuse me.
Gotcha. Now, when you're doing those washes, are you thinning those down too, or because I've noticed sometimes those, I don't know, it seems to kind of build up sometimes and then leave like a real thick transition line on where it
Yeah.
stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, I thin
Has-
the washes down a lot, depending on the particular brand, but some of them are really thick, and if you use them straight out of the jar, the pot, whatever, it'll it almost fills in more than you want it to as far as the sculpt goes.
Mhm.
So I find like it's better for me. It's better to thin the stuff out and then have to do two coats. I'd rather do that than do one coat and it's really thick and it doesn't look the
Gotcha.
way I want it to.
Gotcha.
Real quick, we got a super chat here from Rob. Is that a nail art liner brush?
I don't.
He's talking about the dry brush, the makeup brushes. So no, that what you're talking about
Oh,
is
not
for like
nail.
Rob's talking about more like for the details, like if you're doing like a pupil or something. I've seen some people use those kind of nail brushes.
Oh, for like drawing nails, those
Yeah,
kind of brushes. Okay,
yeah. I've seen some people use that for like when you're doing the very dot of the pupil or something.
okay,
So yeah.
cool.
And we had one other question here from M. Viera. Is that, and Curtis, I apologize if I missed, did you already answer this
Nope.
one? Does that orc match the Anubis body or is that the shadow orc?
Shadow work.
Okay.
Gotcha. Awesome. Yeah,
I love I wouldn't.
This is
Sorry,
absolutely beautiful. I love this so much. I'm sure Jesse's going the same place I was, which is that I wouldn't have thought purple hair, but it's gorgeous. And then the face, the details of the face on those areas where the light would hit, how it pops is just awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to try
That's
something different with the hair. I've done a bunch of shadow works, and usually the hair is, gray or white or, something like that. So for whatever reason, I just wanted to try something different with this guy, and I like the way it turned out.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
And yes, that's exactly. I was going to go with the purple. Purple hair was not something I would have necessarily thought to, but with the brown, it looks fantastic.
So good.
All right, I know this was one of Curtis's picks a couple weeks ago, so we've got to talk about this one.
Yeah, tell us what went into this.
Cow.
Yeah, like how do you even think of doing something like this? Like, where does the inspiration for this come from?
Well, I gotta give credit where credit's due as far as the inspiration. Lenny Kingpin Customs. I think you guys have had him on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bunch of customs last year that were sort of Day of the Dead themed, and they were awesome.
Yeah.
They were really cool. And since then, I had I'd had it checked in the back of my head that I wanted to do a couple in some way similar to that. And I got a bunch of these Medusa heads in, and it just occurred to me like, why don't I do one of these like that? And it was a pain in the butt, without a doubt. It took. I mean, these heads are, you know, as I'm sure you've heard, anybody that's done them, they take freaking forever.
Yeah.
But and I certainly didn't make it any easier on myself. But I was happy with how it turned out.
I had trouble painting 2 snakes on a skeleton skull. So
the snake, yeah, I mean that's impressive, but the line work that you do on like above her eye and on the lips, and even just the eyes are absolutely perfect. So I was super impressed with just the detail line work on here, on the makeup. So good.
Oh, thank you.
So for that, are you just using a really thin brush and just like very
Yeah,
carefully doing that?
usually I use, from my experience, like it's not, you want to use a small brush, but it's really more about a small brush with a good point.
Mm-hmm.
So, typically when I buy, if I go to Michael's or wherever and buy, detail brushes, I'll buy a bunch of them at a time just so I always have one that's got a good point on it for stuff like this. But I'll also
Gotcha.
use a lot of times, like, for eyes, for the pupils and stuff. I'll use they're called they're pens called Micron.
Oh yeah, the micron pens.
Yeah. You make the smallest one is I think it's an 003, and it's a really fine point. And I find those really helpful for doing like the outline of the pupils and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
The only
Cool.
thing you need to be careful when you use those, when you're using those, is that the ink takes a while to dry. So
Mm,
if you try to do some, like if you're doing an outline on a pupil and then you try to paint the color in and you haven't waited long enough, you'll wind up smudging it. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll use the pen for whatever I want to use it for, and then I'll hit the face with like a quick blast of some sealant, some clear coat, let that dry, and then fill in the rest of the details I want to do.
Okay.
gotcha.
That's
Um,
I mean, and I absolutely love the blue, like the blue and white combo on this is absolutely gorgeous. They're both like kind of cold, but the snakes being alive and moving gives it a different dynamic, and like it's just it's such an intriguing, not only doing the Day of the Dead kind of sugar skull look on the face, but just that bright blue with that stark white as a Medusa. Again, you're just thinking out of the box on so many of these things, and it's very inspiring and impressive.
Well,
so
thank you.
the really tight lines on the makeup, is that done with the micron pen or is that just a brush?
Some of them, like I think the, the lines on the lips and around the lips I did with a brush. I think the circles over the tops of the eyes, over the black part there, yeah, those I
Mhm.
did with the pen, and then the iris with the pen, and then I think everything else was with a brush.
Okay, awesome.
Real quick, we got another super chat from M. Vieira. 9.99. Thank you very much. Let's just get to the point on this one. Are we getting a full custom to go with this head?
This head is actually in Ish's possession.
Oh, okay.
He was, I know he's got an affinity for this kind of stuff, and he reached out to me like seconds after I posted it, and I had to sell it to him. So, but I'm probably going to do another one similar to this, maybe with different colored snakes or something, because I'd like to keep stuff sort of unique. And
Mhm.
that one, if I have time, that one I probably will do as a full custom.
Well, and I mean, I would guess, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I would guess that if you're sharing a table with multiple people, you probably don't have a whole lot of room for full customs. It's probably going to be mostly heads that you're selling at Legion's Con. Is that correct?
Yeah, mostly. I got a much better jump start this year, so I've got probably close to 90, 100 heads done already.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping to get enough to do 2 racks, which I guess would be 120. So
They
that's going to
actually
be.
make a 120 rack. I don't know if you've
Oh,
seen it.
okay, cool.
The first person I saw use it was Dirk Nagel. And they've got, I think there's some on Amazon actually, because I ordered one, and it's just a really tall one that's 120.
Yeah, I
And
saw that last year at his table. Yeah.
it's really cool because one of the problems that I've noticed when people have heads at their table is it sits so low that people have to like
Yeah.
crouch down to look at him and stuff. Well, that
Yep.
121 makes it really tall, so you can see a lot more of the heads at once. And if you're sharing a table with a bunch of people, you know, that may come in a little bit more handy. So maybe something to check out.
Yeah,
So.
that's a good idea. I'll definitely investigate that.
I've got to ask one more question about this head.
Sure.
I can't tell from the picture. I'm looking at my second screen over here. Are those scales on the snake sculpted in? Because it looks sculpted down towards the root of the head, and then up by the head of the snake, it looks smoother. Or is that something you painted in?
No, there's scales in the sculpt. In fact, it
Okay.
sort of fades into the top of the head there, the forehead. There's a
Okay.
little bit of very faint scale work. So no, I didn't do anything. Basically, the snakes I really just did one solid blue tone, and then obviously the underside is a different color. But then I did like a couple layers of dry brushing just to kind of
Okay.
pop the
Make
tops
the
of them.
details in the sculpt pop.
Because
Yeah,
I was gonna
exactly.
say, if you painted those scales in on top of all the line work you did on her face, I was gonna be like, you just get out of here. Like,
Nah, I'm not that insane.
Awesome. Yeah, this was definitely that was an instant shelf selection. That wasn't even one I had to think about. So this is another, like, I've gotten pretty decent, I think, at like beard and hair colors for natural colors. Like if it's, you know, I'm doing brown hair or black hair or gray hair or whatever. But like these ones where it's like red and purple and blue and stuff, the way that you've done these to where it looks like real, like, you know, and it's weird to say because you wouldn't normally see like red or blue or purple hair unless somebody's dyeing it, especially in a sword and sorcery setting. But it looks so good. You know, just the way that you create depth in the you know, the deep spaces and then really highlight the top spaces. It's like a perfect color combo. I really like it a lot.
I've been trying to step out of, I've done so many heads with, especially dwarves, with the typical, and then the more natural hair colors, the blondes and the reds and the browns or whatever. Lately, I've been trying to experiment and step out a little more with kind of more, bold, whatever, out of the box colors. So this was kind of one of those. I didn't want to get too crazy, like give him a vibrant pink beard or anything, but
Right.
I figured I'd go a little darker than your typical, ginger.
Gotcha.
I totally see like Brian Blessed or even I mean, I know he's got like a ginger red beard. Is it Brendan Gleeson? Yeah, played Hamish in Braveheart.
Oh yeah, yep.
Like I totally see him, either of those guys playing this guy in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, so cool.
That's a great sculpt. That's another one of David's retired ones.
I mean, I love all the hair that you've done, but I think that the thing that blows me away the most is the skin tone on the faces that you do. Like just all the highlights and depth and stuff that you create. It's like you always choose the perfect colors, but yeah, your hair work is amazing as well.
And so clearly you like the planetary dog stuff and Saba stuff. Have you gotten like have you been trying to get like a stockpile of stuff since they're closing stuff down, or you just have a couple that you really like?
I have, as much as a budget affords. This has been a tough year as far as everything that's going on. It's funny because I'll get stuff. I put in a bunch of orders and I've tried to stockpile stuff, and I'm like, oh well, I'll get this, this stuff here, and this will be stuff I can use at Legion's Con and blah blah blah. And then I get it in, and I'm like, wow, these sculpts are fantastic, man. I don't know if I can get rid of these, so it's kind of tough.
Okay, again with the bright blue, this one's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, this was a commission. I guess I don't know the character. I guess she was a character on the show Angel. I don't remember the name.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember her name, but I remember the character.
Yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
can't go wrong with that Thrace head. That is a beautiful sculpt.
It's, it just shows though, like how many different ways you can paint that, and it looks different every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Illyria, that's right.
That's
Dr.
it.
Burton
Yep.
got it.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So with Outpost Axis being the last wave to get in hand, I mean, clearly your comment here says when listing favorites from the Legion's line, she's one of your favorites.
Yeah.
What it is about her? What is it about her that stands out for you?
I'm a big fan of I know it's kind of controversial, but I like the 2.0 figures, particularly the females. Kalian and Ziri are still probably my two favorite cosmic figs. As far as this one in particular, the soft goods are just phenomenal. I mean, CJ is great. His work is just incredible. But I really also like the color palette. It's a nice mix of stuff that you normally wouldn't necessarily see together. The greens and the blues, and then the orange highlights, and that sort of rusty colored poncho. It's a cool figure.
Totally. Excuse me.
That's cool. Man, that's creepy. I love the eyes on that. That is a really cool, like neon green looking color.
Yeah. Yeah, Jason Rodriguez he's been killing it with the sculpts lately. This is one
He's got a lot of good stuff this year.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
I just, with all the textures sculpted into this Curtis, I'm just, don't let Curtis pick this one up if you have it at your table, because he's just going to run that all over his lips.
I mean, I like all of these right now. That first orc is like really calling me. So
cool.
I love these boots. These are really cool. Where's that from?
So it was the Legion shop set that Jeremy had. I think he had them painted and he had them unpainted.
Did it come with the boots? I remember the head and the axes.
No, it was the head, the axes, and then there were snowshoes, and then the boots are from Noble Bear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to get some of those. Those are cool.
Yeah,
that combo of parts works really good together.
Yeah, they fit perfectly with that kind of Arctic theme.
Yeah,
I was really glad to see that head and those parts made a comeback.
Those boots are sold like just by themselves. They're not part of a set or anything.
No, he's got 3 or 4 different sets of dwarf boots, and that's the kind of runs.
Is it a 2-piece thing, or is it a one solid? Like, is it a lower leg and then a foot, or is it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you would still need like a mythic peg for it.
Yeah, you need an ankle joint.
Gotcha.
Yep, but they fit perfectly. I mean, you don't even have to do any dremmeling or anything. They pop right on.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's really cool. I like that, because I've got one of those Arctic sets, but I was trying to figure out, like, how am I going to make this look right on the bottom part, because none of the dwarf boots, it wouldn't really look right. I love that solution. I'm gonna have to put that on my list to go order from him.
I mean, come on. I was going to say, how did I not like this? And I did.
Did you get any of these yet, Jesse?
I've gotten a couple. I've not gotten a chance to paint any of them up yet, but this is my favorite design of these Fuzzmonk helmets, because it just feels like the perfect match in like the Zylonian theme and everything.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too.
Yeah. This looks great, and I love that green accent around his face like that. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, they're a really cool design.
Oh man.
Gosh, it's so awesome.
So is that painted to go to like go on a Marley body?
Yeah, that was kind of it's not like a direct match or anything, but that's kind of the vibe I was going for.
Gotcha.
Thematically fits nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Dude, those eyes are crazy cool.
and I know when we had the Medusa we were just talking about on as one of the shelf selections, and I feel like a lot of these I have to like stop and double remind myself that these are 3D printed like 1/12 scale figures, not like full size like movie prosthetics. I
Oh,
mean,
thank you. Thank you.
you know, just as you get lost in it, like the details on them are so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is one I'm trying to get a full custom done, like a kind of cosmic blood knight kind of thing. But
Yeah.
worst case, it'll be these pieces on that Mark Calvo stand there that it's on, and I'll just sell it like that.
Okay.
You can
That's
kind of,
cool.
assemble your own.
There you
Oh,
go,
boy.
Rob. It was coming.
That's got Jesse's name written all over it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I even pull mine out to paint the one I have now?
I like the critters too.
Your dry brushing looks so good. There must be on a lot of these. You must be doing multiple levels of dry brushing with different colors because
Yeah, a
I
lot of
can
times I'll do
yeah.
2 layers of dry brushing.
Yeah, because I can see that it's not just like one dark color, one light color. Like there's definitely some in between on
Yeah.
there. So that's
One thing
awesome.
I did wanna mention that because I've had this conversation with a few people recently. Something I that helped me a lot as far as my painting, was when I'm dry brushing. Like I used to, whenever I would dry brush, I would do the typical thing of, dip a little paint on the brush and then, excuse me, wipe it on a paper towel and then go to work. And I don't know, a couple years ago, I saw a video with someone, and he was like, listen, you should not do it like that, because when you're doing it like that, you're the paper towel is absorbing all the medium of the paint, and you're leaving
Mhm,
behind just the pigment, and that can often give you that kind of chalky look you might get when you dry brush. So what
mhm.
I do now is I dip my brush in the paint, and then I hit it on a or not a paper towel, a paper plate, and I kind of just circle it around until it's, enough of the paint is off the brush that I'm happy, and I find I get a much smoother result that way.
People make fun of me sometimes. I use the back of my hand.
Yeah, that
So
works too.
so like if I'm dry brushing something, like my hand will be completely covered in paint because I just use
Yeah.
the back of my hand. But yeah, same kind of thing. It seems like that works a lot better to where you still get that even color rather than the chalkiness thing. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I also recently got a dry brush palette. I think maybe Eric Miller might have recommended. Somebody was recommending it in our customizing studio. I think it might have been Eric Miller, and
Cool.
it's just like a plastic tray, and it's got like different textures on it.
Mhm.
So like if the like one's like a wood, one is brick, like there's a bunch of different textures on it. And so if you can kind of do that same thing on there, like you can wipe it off and then test to make sure that it's the amount that you're looking for. So
Cool. Yeah, I've seen those. I gotta pick one of those up one of these
they're
days.
good. They're good. This is awesome, man. This is like another creepy cool one.
Yeah.
I could see
I'm gonna
this
go
is
back.
like a sentry, like for in front of like the vampires and stuff, like somebody that's out right outside.
Yeah, I didn't know like when he was going for like orc or half work with that sculpt, so I kind of just, I just figured I'd go in a totally different direction. So I kind of matched it up to the Varg body.
That's cool. It reminds me of shoot, what was that that movie with the little people, Time Bandits. There's a guy in there that it kind of reminds me of that.
I love that movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
See, this is another one where you can see there's a lot of different colors in that blue. It's not just two colors. There's like several different colors.
Yes, Brent, I realize that because of the way the algorithm works, I don't always get to see everything I want to see. So if I see stuff while we're talking to one of our guests, I just start clicking on all their pictures.
Before you click off of this one, can you talk a little bit about the eye there? Because like you can see there's, once again, multiple different colors and stuff going on here. So yeah, tell us about what's going on with that eye.
I think, if I recall correctly, I think I did the base coat in like an ivory, which is my go-to for pretty much any time I'm doing an eye. And then I believe what I did with this one was I did a really thin down little bit of like a pinkish contrast paint. And I did one coat, like sort of all the way around, covering the whole thing. And then I went back in and sort of darkened it up around the edges, sort of. And then, obviously the iris was,
right,
with a smaller brush.
One more question about thinning down the contrast. Are you using like a dropper or how, like, because those bottles aren't the most convenient to use.
No,
So when
they're
you're
horrible.
Yeah. So when you're mixing, you're saying kind of 1-to-1 and stuff. Like, how are you getting that onto your palette? Are you just like trying to carefully drop it from that bottle, or do you have something to get it off with?
No, it's not even that sophisticated. Usually I'll use like the opposite end of a brush.
Okay.
So I'll just kind of dip it in and, drop it into the wet palette or the dry palette and then just mix it.
Gotcha. Okay. That's actually a good idea. I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome. Dude, that is so cool.
Is that brute scale or ogre scale rather? Or is that regular?
It's just regular size. I think it's Borderland Horde Customs. They've got some.
That's
really,
what it says on the
Yeah,
you got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, these are.
That's what I've kind of noticed from your posts is like, man, you got stuff from everywhere.
Yeah.
From every different third-party vendor.
This looks like something out of that. Was it the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio from a couple of years ago? It looks like something he would have designed in his sketchbook as like some sort of like wooden automaton.
There's this one, and then he's got a female one as well. That's really cool. Both of them are really cool.
Oh, there you go, Curtis.
I like that. I did a Darth Maul last year, and I really love doing like the line work like that, like freehanding stuff. I actually was working on a piece today that I was having to do some freehand line work, and I don't know, there's something really enjoyable about that.
Yeah,
because
sometimes it's really fun, and then other times it's like
super tedious. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's like, listen, a lot of these 3D sculptors are absolutely amazing, and they put some great details in there. And sometimes the way you brush it, like the details just catch the paint a certain way that makes it perfect. But painting a design on something that doesn't have those sculpted details in there, that you're actually making the details yourself, there's something pretty cool about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this Arctic dwarf is awesome.
I know we looked at the fuller dwarf of this earlier, but like the way you did like the layering and the like the dark and then the dry brushing, like it gives it like that fur's been around for a while, like it's not like a fresh fur like coat you just picked up from the store this year. Like this guy's been through some stuff, and that fur is like clumping together, and it just gives such personality to the overall look of it, and it tells a story, which that's the thing we always talk about on here with the shelf selections and stuff. Between the photos and just the way people paint stuff, it tells a story without using words, and that's really cool.
Yeah, got another super chat out there. It's been a big super chat day.
Yeah, Rob Zamora, $9.99 super chat. Another thing that blows me away besides his awesome paint jobs is that Blaise only has 532 followers on Instagram. He should be in the 50K plus or more area.
Excuse me.
Straight up sideshow painter status. Yes. So folks, don't Don't worry about subbing to our channel. Go over to Blaise's Bear.Blaise at Instagram and start following.
This is one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to have Blaise on the show, because I think there's a lot of artists at Legions Con because they're sharing tables with other people. Like, you may not see on the map like their name on the map, and so then you're like, okay, like you're not thinking about them, but there's some really great artists that are sharing tables with people, and so we always like to kind of shine the light, whether it's through the shelf selections or through our guest, shine the light on some people in the community, and this is a guy that definitely, I mean, you need to see his artwork, you need to get some of his artwork, so make sure you stop by that Noble Bear table, because this stuff is phenomenal. So,
and you're gonna have to fight Curtis and Thomas Belay to get there, because I think wasn't it Thomas talking about getting his wheelies and rolling up to the table first thing?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna warn you, Blaise. Like last year, my number one target was Arthas, and I was literally stalking him during setup, and I was like looking around the corner, and he'd be like, "No, I'm not ready yet, Curtis," and I'd come around a couple minutes later, he's like, "No, not yet." So I'm just letting you know, if you see my head poking around corners and everything, just be ready for it, because it's gonna happen.
I'm prepared. I rode down last year and this year with Art. He lives like 30 minutes away from me.
Oh, that's right. He was telling me in the studio, because I told him that I needed to somehow cause like a road blockage or something, to where I can just like sneak into the back of your guys' car and take all of your stuff. That's awesome. I mean, talk about two talented artists in one car. That's, I mean, that's almost like the president and vice president not being able to fly on the same plane. You really can't do that.
Art's great. His creativity is amazing.
Oh, he's so talented and so nice. And you could say that about so many people in the community, but for sure. Yeah. I love Art. He's in the customizing studio almost every week. He's been doing a lot of traveling recently, but man, I love when we get people like him and Emil and Joe Vassapolo and some really talented artists come in that customizing studio, along with people that are just getting started. And it's just a mix of different skill levels and experience, and everybody's just kind of hanging out, talking and sharing ideas, and it's so much fun.
And one of these Sundays I'm gonna pop in. I keep meaning to. And
for sure. I'll add you to the main group, and anytime that you want to join, just let us know.
Cool.
So
again, this is another one that looks like, sorry, I had, this one's literally like staring into my soul without having any eyes. And I heard everything you guys just said, but I can't break away from this stare that it's giving me. Like, the sculpt is amazing, but again,
it's a creepy sculpt.
The paint brings it to life, or whatever this is, and just all these, this is my new
in his nightmares tonight.
I was gonna say, this is my new sleep paralysis demon, I think.
Nice.
So good job.
Thank you.
No, and just again, the way you got these shots, and I'm assuming you're taking these with like a phone or something.
Yeah, just my iPhone.
They're doing a great job, because when you get these close-ups, like, they're crisp enough. Like, again, this, if I didn't know this was a toy, I would think this was a prosthetic mask someone was wearing for a screen test.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like, it just has such a
Oh my goodness. Now, a version of this is going to be available at the customizing studio, the one with the crown, during the customizing studio event at Legions Con. But man, that is absolutely fabulous. You did great on that. Those eyes are just mesmerizing. They're like looking right into my soul.
The colors you picked for this, like, is great, because it's easy to go like brown wolf or gray wolf, black wolf, white wolf, but getting the grays and some of the like the lighter, warm grays and like the little browns and everything just really gives a life to this sculpt.
Yeah. You know, I
amazing.
find like with most things in life, it's very rare that something is just one sort of color. You know, like
Mm,
Yeah.
you know, there's usually different shades at different spots. So this is another sculpt I'm
Oh
glad to
man.
see making a comeback.
yeah.
I love this one.
Is this the Griffin
Yeah,
head?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's such a great sculpt again.
Mm-hmm. A little snarl.
Yeah.
Colors on that. I don't think I noticed the snarl when I painted mine.
This one like strikes me as very Tolkien kind of dwarfish, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Dr. Brent saying, I don't have any of Blaise's work yet. Just stay out of my way. That's all I'm saying. All right. I talked last week about shoving old ladies with walkers out of the way and stuff. Whatever I got to do, I'm going to be first in line. So,
You're
dude,
not
this is,
supposed to embody the character of Loudermilk in real life, Curtis.
hey, man, whatever I got to do. Oof. It's just amazing. Now,
Oh,
you've
wow.
been putting out a lot of stuff. Like, what is your, like, how often do you get to paint? Is it, are you painting, once a week, every day? And how often are, like, what does it take for you to put out, normally like a head sculpt?
I can attest to Brent on a side note saying he can stand in line forever because he's the only person that beat Art and I at Shop the Curiosity this year. He was there at like
Yeah.
2 in the morning. So, but as to your question, I try to paint every day. You know, some days are more successful than others. You know, like it really depends on the individual piece. Like I've kind of set myself at a like hypothetical goal of doing like a head a day if I'm gonna paint. It
Hmm.
doesn't happen very often, but you know, I try to never rush. Like if something takes, you know, 4 hours instead of an hour, then I want to give it the amount of time it deserves. You know, I don't want to
Right.
just, you know, do something fast just to get it done. So
Gotcha.
Got a question here from King Castle Seizure. How do you paint so smooth?
thin your paints. That's my recommendation.
Multiple thin layers.
Multiple thin layers and then a good clear coat on top.
Yeah.
This guy's getting an
That's
upgrade as soon as I get new heads from Dirk. He's got those new Wolverine dwarf heads.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna
oh.
change this guy out when I get those.
I do love the personality in this head. Like
I do too, but
it's a little almost comical, not
yeah,
to be a pun because he comes from comics, but like it's if this was a gnome Wolverine, that would be
yeah.
100% right. Oh man. Sorry, I'm just like
You're good.
not hey, look, shelf selections. Curtis picking 2 of them that week because he wants to drive me insane with
Trying to sneak them in on Jesse. It was
you
just,
can't,
I mean, 2 good pictures. I couldn't not pick them both,
there's no sneaking them. Like I know they're there. No, they are amazing, and yes, it is very
Yeah,
hard to
the
choose.
candy coating on this one is just absolutely gorgeous. Such a good job. And I'm guessing that's just kind of like a lot of people have talked about, kind of putting down like a silver or something and then
Yeah.
a translucent color on top of it.
Yeah, just the really bright metallic. I mean, you could do it with other shades of metallic. It looks kind of
Mhm.
cool with gold too. But if you want that kind of, you know, the Tusk, you know, pilot look, it's like a bright silver or light metallic, and then a clear red over top. I've been using the Tamiya makes a rattle can of the clear red, so I've been
Mhm.
using that because it's a lot easier to get a nice smooth coat with that than it is to, you know. out of the pot, the paint is very thick and syrupy, so it's a little difficult to
Okay.
work with.
Yeah, I just bought some of that Tamiya red, and I haven't used it yet, but
Yeah.
I know that's what Joe said that he used on the red jets. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just saw a question. Sorry, I'm getting lost in looking at your artwork. Another one from uh, Curtis. Help me with names.
Nathan.
Thank you. Do you highlight the skin normally? Like, do you build up layers, or is the skin tones a wash over top? Or
Usually I do like a base, like a mid-tone skin color, and then I'll either do blended layers on top, or I usually don't use a wash other than maybe sometimes around the eyes, depending on the look I'm trying to go for. I will sometimes use a thinned out flesh. I can't remember it's a flesh contrast paint. Dark oath flesh, maybe.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a normal skin tone. Sometimes I'll use that, like a very, very thinned out little bit of that to kind of add like on this one, I may have used that to get that kind of shadow in the recesses.
Okay.
And then, like a lighter skin tone for like the high points too, typically to finish it off.
Now, when when you thin out something like that and you're applying it, are you kind of applying it across the whole area and letting it kind of fall into the recesses, or are you carefully just applying it to the areas that you're wanting it?
For something like this, I would probably cover the whole
Okay.
thing, other than like, obviously the eye and the teeth.
Right.
Excuse me. But sometimes I might do something like that just around like the area underneath the eyes to kind of give it that, like sunken eye look.
Gotcha.
Nathan's saying thank you. Skin tones are always tricky.
My pleasure.
Appreciating the tips.
Is there a kind of a go-to skin color paint that you use for like a Caucasian flesh tone like that?
I
Is there
like
some starter point that you use?
I like the typical like Citadel ones, the Cadian flesh tone, and the
Kislev.
yeah, the one that starts with a K that I can't pronounce. Excuse me, Two Thin Coats makes a couple good ones now too. They have an elven one that I really like. Excuse me.
How do you have forearms there?
The planetary dog toys they have naked
Oh,
forearms.
nice. Okay, okay.
One more question on the flesh tone piece, like those areas that are more kind of like the blush piece, like on the cheeks or the nose. Are you using like a skin tone that you've already used and kind of adding some red to it, or is that more of like a wash or a dry brush? How are you achieving that kind of blush look on those areas?
I'll either do like for a dwarf nose, typically what I'll do is I'll use the primary skin tone color and then just add a tiny little bit of pink to give it that pinkish hue, and then I'll dry brush that on the tip of the nose.
Okay.
And then the same for the cheeks. Sometimes I'll wet blend it, or maybe even, just layer it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's typically the way I go. Just a tiny little bit of pink into the primary flesh color.
I like even just like on that one there that he was just showing like the little kind of freckles / liver spots or whatever. Like it's just like the attention to detail on that kind of stuff that makes it look more realistic. Like this looks like a face. It looks like somebody's head,
I like that kind of stuff because it adds like a lot more depth to something, like that kind of stuff like Noah Pratt does. He's like a, next level with that kind of stuff. It's always
now on those eyes, like on that last picture, I noticed you got the white on there, like for the reflection. Is that something that you always try to do, or just kind of when you feel like it's right, or what?
You mean like the white dot, the catch light kind of thing? Yeah, if there's enough room, sometimes I might skip it if it's like a really tiny sculpt for an eye. But as long as there's enough room, I always try to do, In a
Gotcha.
perfect world, I try to do the outline of the eye in black, and then the color, the primary color, and then a black dot in the center, and then the little white catch light.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that
Awesome.
adds. I've always held off doing that myself just because I'm afraid I'm just going to smear white everywhere. Like I don't feel my hand is steady enough to get the nice little dot, but it adds such like, especially to a dwarf like this, it adds such like that kind of like twinkle, not necessarily mischievous, but kind of that playful like life to it that just takes it to a different thing.
So smooth, man. I mean, just like the finish on that, like that dark elf was just very smooth. Yeah. There's no paintbrush lines. Sometimes I'll get like a head right where I want it, and then I go and take a picture, and then I realize that like one of the little hairs from the brush like got stuck in the paint and left behind. And then it's like, oh my goodness. And then you got to try to like go in there with like an X-Acto knife or some little tweezers or something, get that out. And then you got to retouch it up. But yeah.
Yeah. My cat is constantly like trying to rub up on me while I'm painting. So I'm constantly seeing like little tiny hairs stuck to my paint job. It's like, ah.
Yeah. Look at that Jesslyn.
I know.
Heck yeah.
And the parrot is great. The Mancoon. I love this head. I don't know what they call that creature, but
all those animals are awesome.
I just did the female Jesslyn yesterday. I haven't put it up yet, but
my goodness,
cool. I can't wait to see yours. I can't wait to see yours because we've talked about this, Kurt. It's like she's a little harder to paint because she doesn't have as much sculpt detail. So I'm excited to see what you did with that.
Yeah, she's one of those that if you go to dry brush it, and like you were saying earlier, if you dried up too much of the medium, it can look really chalky on her really quick because there's not as many sculpt details. So you got to be real careful with that female one. So that'll be interesting to see how that comes out.
Go, Curtis.
Yeah, I love all of these. I think so far that orc from the beginning is the one that's calling me the most. So
yeah, I
love that.
We'll go back to that one real quick at the top. So you're going to be at Legions Con.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Do you set up or ever go to any other shows, or is that kind of like you just work all year for that now?
Yeah, as far as selling, that's all I'm looking at. I mean, I might hit a couple other shows here and there as, a consumer or, but like Shop the Curiosity, I've gone through the last 2 or 3 years because that's only, like a half hour, 45 minutes away from me.
Oh, nice.
I'd like to, one of these days, I want to hit that show in your neck of the woods, the ones that's in the big, circular, what's it called? RetroCon?
The Centrifuge at ZoloCon.
Or
the ZoloCon at the It's they're not holding it there anymore. The last one is coming up, I think next week or 2 weeks or something like that.
Oh, that's too bad.
Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. Brent, back off, man. I already said this is the one I want. Okay, so just back off.
That said, ZoloCon is moving to a new venue next in February. I think it's usually late February, early March. I can't remember if they announced the new date yet. I think they did, but it's going to be at the I think it's like a casino center in King of Prussia. So it's still close to where it is. And I would definitely recommend coming. It'll be a shame to miss out on going to the Fuge and seeing that really cool spot.
Yeah.
But that's a really fun show. There's everything from like, I know Van and Jordan were up there from the Purple Gang guys, and they found that really kooky little spot over by the bathroom where they had like, it wasn't bags of glass, but it was just like the most random stuff as toys. And just really unique sculpts all the way up to, stuff like Horseman or your McFarlane and all that stuff. But it's definitely worth coming out. And a lot of Legions fans are there for that show. It's definitely worth coming out for if you can make it.
Well, I think you need to do some more shadow works because you already got 3 people fighting over this one head sculpt. So just FYI,
okay,
it's in high demand.
I've got a couple more in the box.
Awesome. Well, Blaise, it's been awesome having you on. Appreciate you joining us. You're absolutely crushing it this year. Keep it up. Folks watching, whether it's live or on the replay, check out his work in the Mythic Legions Cabal. I know you post some stuff in the Wolf Den, I think, and then obviously on Instagram, you see it there going across the screen at bear.blaise on Instagram. And check them out at Legions Con. Go to the Noble Bear table. I think it is second row from the back. Is that correct?
It's the same spot it was last year. So it's like dead center in the middle of the room.
Yeah. So in the middle, if you go in the middle aisle, second row from the end, it'll be on that corner table. You'll see Noble Bear and Reynolds Cruz and Blaise there. And check it out. So maybe he'll get one of those really tall 120 thimble holders, and you'll have a massive selection to choose from. So
it's looking probable.
I see Blake is saying that you're the +1 for intern this year.
Ooh,
have you
nice.
gone to intern yet, or is this your first time?
I have not. Art and I both put in for the lottery this year, and neither one of us got selected. And Blake was cool enough to invite me as his +1, so I'm psyched to go.
Okay,
awesome.
Okay.
Is Art getting to go with somebody else, or did he not? He's not able
I don't
to find
think he's
yet.
got someone yet. So I think the plan, unless he finds someone he can go with, the plan right now will probably be I'll go down for intern. And then after intern, drive back to New York to pick Art up, and then come back.
Well, tell him if right now my son is supposed to go with me, but he could be possibly on a surgical rotation. If he's not able to go, let Art know. I'll bring him along. So
awesome. Awesome.
It's not a for sure thing. Hopefully my son's able to make it, but if for some reason he can't, I'll definitely keep him at the top of my list. So
cool. That would be awesome.
Beautiful. Well, we appreciate you being on. It's been awesome. You're doing some great work. Thank you for the tips on the, whether it's the tools and just the way that you do things. I saw some things from Nathan there saying it would be nice if you wanted to do like a tutorial or just some kind of some tips when you post something on kind of like how you did things. That would be great for people that are still trying to get into this and learn how to do it. Tutorial or behind the scenes or even like a video. So
anyone can
obviously you're very busy right now, but if that's something that you ever were able to do, it sounds like that would be interesting to some people. So
cool. I'm always available. If anyone ever has a question or anything, just shoot me a message. Even if I don't get back to you immediately, I will get back to you. I'm always available to help out in any way I can.
Awesome.
Brent's saying, have a great night. See you when I'm first in line for Legions Con. Well, listen here, Brent. You see, as a vendor, I'm going to be able to get in there on vendor night.
As Curtis, he's going to get in before everyone else and somehow be set up when the rest of us go in to start.
I will be at the table before Blaise even walks in the door. So nice
he's
try,
be waiting
Brent.
at his house, like getting ready to escort him, like a military escort.
As soon as Art and Blaise pull into New Jersey, as soon as they cross the line, I'm going to be there waving them down to the side of the road. So, well, Blaise, it's been great. Thank you for joining us. We're going to put you backstage again like we did earlier. If you've got to go, totally fine. If not, hang out there, and we'll be right back with you as soon as we close out the show.
Okay? All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Oh, so much fun.
Definitely. Great chat. I cannot believe those two, like after this weekend, as much fun and just getting to relax at a show and not being working. These past 2 hours just flew by. I had a lot of fun. It was great getting to
how funny is it that like my artist of the year last year and my artist of this year are the ones traveling together to the con. Funny.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you're up to shenanigans.
Man. I mean, just talented, nice folks. That's what I love about this community. So much talent, so much coolness. Everybody's great.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
speaking of great people, we got a show for next week with some great people, don't we?
Yes, we do. I did not get to prepare a slide to present here, but I will have the link posted. Unlike this week, I will have the link posted sometime tomorrow, probably tomorrow evening. Next week,
The song.
got,
hold on 1 second. The song says, "Bring a friend or two."
or two. Yes.
So,
sometimes, Curtis, you maybe need to not take things so adamantly literally. But yes, next week I've got 2 of my travel companions to IshCon this week. 2, count them 2. That's 2 2s. That's 4, but really only 2. We've got El Tidy himself, Brett Stoddart, coming to talk.
we don't talk enough about his photography.
We're probably not going to talk about his photography next week.
Okay.
No. So Brett Stoddart and Steph Orkin are joining us next Sunday night at 8:00. We'll be just getting to know them a little bit better as a community, and doing kind of a recap of IshCon, which I know Curtis and some friends had some things to say Friday night. You can go watch that on that other channel. We're not going to talk about that now. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up. But no, it was a great time. We do wish everybody could have been there. It was, not trying to rub it in, it was a fun show. It was a lot. It was very similar to MesquiCon. Like there was a really intimate group of Legions fans, and just getting to meet new people. Getting to see Jeff Evans for the first time in person, and got to try one of those Bowberry biscuits. It didn't live up to the hype just because the one I went to didn't offer it. Apparently that's like the secret menu thing.
Oh,
that not
gotcha.
every location does.
Gotcha. Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a blast. I did see some pictures of Jesse maybe asleep, catching some flies with his mouth open. So I look forward to talking to Brett and Steph about all the shenanigans that happen at IshCon and all the funny stories about Jesse that they can tell to either embarrass him or make him laugh uncontrollably next week. It should be a fun time.
I will say this. I did get to talk about poor Steph was stuck in the back seat of the car, and I gave her the slideshow tour of my trips to South Africa. So which she was very kind. No, she genuinely seemed interested, and it was a fun conversation, and I was happy to get to talk about it. So
beautiful.
Yeah, I did go full donkey during Purple Gang last night. I'm pretty sure everybody that was watching that heard that. I don't know what it sounded like on the show, but might have been my loudest one since I've been in the Legions community.
Nice. Well, that should be fun next week. So
yes.
And in the meantime, Jesse's going to try to get some sleep from being traveling all day.
Oh, heck no. I'm watching the last episode of House of Dragon now.
Yeah. Dude, we should do it. Hey, just between me and you, we should do a Wednesday one shot on that this week.
Maybe. We'll do that, but it'll probably go up Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah.
Not tonight.
Yeah, okay. For sure. Not tonight. Yeah, Wednesday.
And until next time.
What's on your shelf?
No!